The crowd at the airport froze in place as the police dog suddenly lunged, leaping right into a baby stroller with fierce determination. Passengers erupted into screams. The mother panicked, and officers sprinted toward them, fearing the dog had gone rogue. The woman gripped the stroller handle tightly, her face drained of color. "Control your dog," she shouted desperately. "I don't understand," she insisted, her voice shaking, panic mounting. "I haven't done anything wrong." But the dog didn't relent. She stepped back uneasily and pleaded, "Please make him stop," eyes darting anxiously around. Rex stood firm, muscles coiled, growling low with unwavering focus, locking onto the woman like she was hiding a grave secret. He refused to let anyone near the stroller teeth-bared body, braced like an unbreakable shield. Everyone was convinced the dog made a grave error. They were dead wrong. Completely wrong. Because quietly people began to whisper the police dog was trying to warn them all. Was the woman hiding something illegal? Was she a threat? No one could explain why the police dog reacted with such intensity. Nobody understood what Rex sensed. What happened next shocked the entire terminal, unveiling a truth so incredible it stopped everyone in their tracks. Stay tuned, this story will leave you utterly speechless. But before we dive in, don't forget to like and subscribe. Also, I'm really curious, where are you watching from? Drop your country down below in the comments. I love seeing how far our stories travel. That morning at Crescent International Airport was meant to be just another routine day. The kind of calm, predictable shift that Officer Grant actually found comforting. Sunlight flooded through the giant glass walls, casting shimmering reflections on the polished floors as travelers rolled their bags towards their gates. Children laughed in the distance. Business people hurried by announcements echoed over the speakers. Everything felt almost too calm, too normal. Grant walked beside his K9 partner Rex, the police department's most reliable German shepherd. Rex's ears twitched with every whisper, his nose sniffing at the air. Grant glanced down, a small smile creeping across his face. "Easy, buddy. Not every day has to be drama," he murmured. But Rex wasn't at ease. Grant caught the stiff tension in his posture, the alertness of a dog tuned to a warning beyond human senses. "Not today," he thought quietly. He slowed, leaning in. "What are you picking up?" he whispered under his breath. Rex didn't answer, only scanned the crowd with razor-sharp intensity. Grant shook it off. Airports were always filled with unpredictable scents. Perfume food luggage packed with mystery. Rex had false alarms before, but always snapped back quickly. This time was different. A security supervisor shouted from behind the checkpoint. "Grant, we need a sweep near Terminal Charlie." A baggage scanner flagged something unusual. Grant nodded. "On it." Rex moved ahead briskly, alert but quiet. As they neared the terminal, Rex slowed, ears pricked, forward tail dipping, low body angled like a shield against an unseen threat, as if the very air had shifted. Grant followed his gaze, scanning the passengers. Nothing caught his eye. No suspicious bags, no faces of alarm, just the usual chaotic calm of airport life. Yet something unsettled him. Nearby, a toddler tugged playfully on his mother's sleeve, giggling. A teenager argued with his brother over a tablet. A businessman hurried by, juggling two phones. Normal moments, normal people. But Rex wasn't focused on any of them. His eyes were locked ahead, fixed on something just beyond the crowd. There was something hidden to Grant's eyes, yet clear to the K9. Rex paused, inhaling the air with heavier, more urgent breaths. His fur stood on end. Rex. Grant crouched beside him, voice gentle yet firm. "Talk to me." But the dog's gaze never wavered. Step by determined step, Rex advanced. Then, without warning, he yanked sharply on the leash, forcing Grant to follow. A knot tightened in Grant's gut. This wasn't the casual scent check of a trained dog. This was the stance of a protector, a sentinel who had just detected danger. Neither of them realized that in moments, Rex's instincts would flip the entire airport into chaos, triggered by one lone stroller rolling straight into their path. That sudden pull wasn't just strong, it was desperate. Grant gripped the leash tighter, struggling to keep pace as the German shepherd darted toward the bustling heart of the terminal. Fellow travelers stepped back, alarmed by the dog's intensity. Rex didn't bark, but his stance screamed threat. "Easy boy, slow down," Grant muttered, though he knew the dog's pace wouldn't lessen until the source of the alarm was found. Together they weaved past clusters of tourists capturing pictures, past an elderly couple wrestling with their bags, and past a security kiosk where an officer raised a curious brow at Rex's unwavering resolve. "Grant, what's going on?" the officer called out. "Not sure yet," Grant admitted, "but he's onto something." Rex's nose sliced the air with sharp, deliberate movements. He stopped, inhaled once more, then jerked sharply left. Grant followed. They threaded through the crowds of families and travelers until Rex halted abruptly, nails scraping the polished floor as he planted his paws firmly. Grant scanned the vicinity. A young family stood nearby, the father clutching a passport, the mother gripping a diaper bag, and a small suitcase on wheels bright with cartoon characters. Nothing that screamed danger. The father caught the K9's intense stare, forcing a nervous smile. Everything okay, officer?" Grant studied them carefully, forcing calm. "Just a routine check," he said, though doubt clouded his mind. The mother's eyes flickered with unease, but she gave a small nod. Rex edged closer, nostrils quivering as his nose investigated. First the suitcase, nothing. Then the diaper bag, still no sign. Grant's tension mounted, fearing a false alarm was at hand. Maybe the scent was drifting from somewhere else. Maybe. Suddenly, Rex froze. His head snapped away from the family, his body locked in alert ears, pricked tail stiff as a rod. Grant followed Rex's rigid line of vision toward a wave of passengers pouring in from the main entrance. Among them, a woman hurriedly pushing a stroller, her face tight with urgency. She moved frantically, like a soul running against time, or worse. Grant didn't know her. He'd never seen her before. But Rex registered her immediately. Not the woman, not the stroller itself, but what lay concealed inside. Rex, Grant whispered, but the dog was beyond hearing. One deep, fierce bark burst forth, startling several bystanders, followed by a second. Then, with a sudden lunge, Rex nearly ripped the leash free from Grant's grasp. Grant's heart pounded ferociously. Never had Rex reacted so fiercely to a stroller. Not once in all his years on duty. "Grant, is that a threat?" a nearby officer yelled. "I don't know yet," Grant replied. Rex's barks grew more aggressive, pushing the crowd to step back, some gasping, others pulling out phones to capture what was unfolding. The woman with the stroller flinched at the sudden uproar, her face contorted with confusion and fear. Rex growled low and fierce, a raw, primal sound. In that chilling moment, Grant understood something terrifying. Rex hadn't misread the scent. He was issuing a warning, trying to halt something sinister, something invisible to everyone else. Meanwhile, the woman pushing the stroller slowed, unsettled by the echo of Rex's urgent barking through the terminal. Her eyes darted frantically, one hand clutching the stroller's handle, the other hovering protectively over its canopy. She looked like any weary, stressed traveler, a mother desperate to catch her flight. But Rex wasn't detecting stress. He sensed something far more dire. Grant tightened the leash. "Ma'am, please stop right there," he called out. And she froze immediately. Her voice cracked as she shouted back, "Why is he barking at me? What did I do?" Rex answered with another sharp, urgent bark, lowering his body into a defensive stance, not attacking, but blocking, positioning himself firmly between the stroller and the rest of the terminal. Grant's heart pounded faster. "Ma'am," he said again, stepping forward cautiously. "No one's accusing you of anything. We just need to check something." The woman gasped aloud. "My baby's sleeping. You're scaring him. Please make the dog stop." Grant glanced down at Rex. The dog's gaze didn't waver, didn't soften, and he didn't move an inch. His eyes stayed fixed on the stroller's canopy, the blanket covering the tiny shape tucked inside. Passengers whispered nervously behind them. "Why is the dog reacting like that? Is there a danger in the stroller? Oh my God, is it a bomb?" Grant raised his hand. "Everyone please step back." A wave of anxious footsteps spread as the crowd moved away, creating a clear space around the tense scene. Grant stepped forward carefully. The woman took a step back, clutching the stroller tighter. "No, please, he's just a baby, he's just a baby." Rex snarled, not at her, but at the stroller itself. Grant noticed something strange. The woman's panic wasn't guilt, but raw, gut-wrenching fear. Fear of what? He edged closer. "Ma'am, what's your child's name?" She swallowed hard. "Evan. He's 6 months old. Please don't touch him. He's sleeping." Grant nodded, but before he could say more, Rex suddenly lunged forward, the leash tightening with a snap. Grant gasped, struggling as Rex pulled with a force that nearly wrenched the handle from his hand. The German shepherd bared his teeth not at the woman, but at the stroller, growling so fiercely the wheels rattled. Rex Grant shouted, but it was too late. The dog leapt. His paws landed right inside the stroller. The woman screamed. Officers rushed in from all sides. Passengers shrieked and scattered like leaves in the wind. Beneath Rex's weight, something shifted under the baby blanket, something that clinked faintly metallic and ominous. The entire terminal froze in that heartbeat, the moment Rex's paws struck the stroller. The woman's screams sliced sharply through the air, forcing several passengers to drop their luggage in shock. Officers sprinted toward the chaos hands hovering over their holsters, uncertain whether they faced a rogue K9 or a threat far deadlier. "Off," Rex Grant commanded, but the dog stood firm. The German shepherd planted himself like a living shield over the stroller muscles, tensed teeth bared at the blanket beneath him. His growl vibrated through the metal frame. "Grant, what is he doing?" an officer shouted, eyes wide as he hurried forward. Grant remained silent, his gaze locked on Rex's posture, intensely focused, frantic, desperate. This wasn't a sign of aggression. It was a cry of alarm. Rex wasn't attacking, he was standing guard to stop something. Suddenly the woman lunged forward, tears streaming uncontrollably down her cheeks. "Please get that dog off my baby!" 2 officers held her back, trying to soothe her frantic voice. "Ma'am, you need to stay behind this line. We have to assess the situation. There's nothing wrong," she sobbed. "He's just sleeping." But Grant couldn't shake the chill crawling through his gut because beneath the blanket, something stirred, not the soft shifting of a resting child, but a deliberate movement, a metallic clink. Rex bowed his head, sniffed deeply, then unleashed a growl so fierce, so primal, Grant had never heard anything like it. Around them, passengers stood frozen, stunned. Some raised their phones, others whispered prayers aloud. The tension in the air was suffocating. Slowly, deliberately, Grant crouched, inching closer to the stroller. "Rex, buddy, let me see." Rex didn't growl or snap. Instead, with gentle precision, he nudged the blanket aside with his snout, pulling it off like a curtain unveiling a secret. The entire terminal gasped. Inside, a baby boy lay peacefully, cheeks flushed, chest rising and falling with steady breaths. But pressed against the child's side, lodged between infant and stroller padding, was a small cylindrical object about the size of a soda can, matte gray smooth with no labels, and a faint blinking light pulsing softly. A cold wave washed over Grant. "Oh my God," one officer whispered. Everyone stepped back. Grant's voice cut through the chaos. "Back away now." Instantly, pandemonium erupted. Officers pushed the crowd back. TSA agents slammed security gates shut. People stumbled over one another, desperate to put distance between themselves and the danger. The woman collapsed to her knees, covering her mouth, trembling uncontrollably. "It's not mine!" she screamed, voice cracking. "I swear I don't know what that is. Please believe me." Grant gripped Rex's harness, pulling him gently away from the stroller, eyes locked on the blinking cylinder. Instinct surged through him like muscle memory, an unidentified container hidden near a child. No markings, a light signifying internal activity. This was no accident. This was deliberate. Before Grant could secure the stroller, the device shifted, rolling slightly as the baby stirred in deep sleep. Rex let out a low, urgent bark that echoed across the terminal. Grant and officer shouted. "Is it a bomb I don't know?" Grant yelled back, adrenaline racing through his veins. But whatever it is, it was planted. The baby whimpered softly as the blinking light changed from blue to red. Grant's breath hitched. The terminal had transformed into a potential disaster zone right beneath their feet. The moment the light shifted to red, it was as if time itself slowed. The air seemed to vanish from Grant's lungs. A single second stretched like an eternity. The baby let out a tiny, innocent cry, oblivious to the mounting terror around him. Officers froze, torn between advancing and retreating. Then came the faintest click, a soft whir, a sound that whispered danger. The small cylinder rolled free from the baby's side, slipping out from the stroller's padding and landing on the glistening airport floor. It bounced once, twice, then spun slowly, eerily, the red light pulsing like a pounding heartbeat. Passengers screamed, scattering wildly in every direction, unleashing a tidal wave of panic. Suitcases tumbled, children cried out in fear. Alarms blared overhead as someone triggered the emergency alert. Security officers locked arms, forming a human shield, ready to confront the chaos head-on. Urgently commanding the crowd back, "Clear this space, step away immediately." Grant yanked the stroller several feet to safety, positioning himself as a shield between the perilous device and the infant. His heart thundered so loud it drowned out everything else. But Rex didn't falter. No confusion twisted his gaze, no panic gripped his stance. He stepped directly before Grant, crouched low, his eyes locked fiercely on the device as if challenging it to move one more time. "Stay clear," an officer warned, desperately fearing Rex might trigger disaster. Yet Rex remained utterly still, ears flattened tail, unwavering breath, steady and measured. He was studying the device, deciphering its secrets, waiting silently. Grant scanned the ground, no seams, no switches, no labels, nothing to reveal its origin. Just a lone red light, pulsing steady and hauntingly rhythmic, ominous. Suddenly, a bomb technician burst into the terminal, breath ragged. "Where is it?" he asked. Grant pointed calmly beside the stroller. The tech approached with deliberate steps, gripping a heavy blast shield. His partner raised a handheld detector, sweeping the air at a cautious distance. The machine beeped furiously, too furiously. Could it be explosives? An officer called out, "Uncertain." The tech snapped, "The readings are conflicting." Conflicting, Grant echoed in disbelief. The tech lowered himself closer. "There's chemical residue, electrical signals, fluctuating heat. This mix, it just doesn't add up." Nearby, the mother broke down, tears streaming as she whispered, "Please, my baby, he didn't do anything. I swear I didn't put that there." Grant watched her trembling shoulders, and he believed every ounce of her fear. Her panic was pure, not from guilt, but from terror. Low and warning, Rex growled and edged nearer to the device. "Grab the dog," someone shouted. "No," Grant said firmly. "He senses something we can't. Let him stay." The tech leaned in just as the red light crazily flickered, quickening its beeps, beep, 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 forcing the tech to stumble backward. "It's reacting to movement." Grant's blood chilled. "Everyone freeze!" His command dropped like a stone, silencing the entire terminal. Even the baby's cries faded into a tense hush. The device pulsed once, flashed brightly. Then the light abruptly went dark. Officers held tight breaths. If this wasn't a bomb, what horrific truth had Rex uncovered? The device now lay inert, its red beacon snuffed out. The heavy silence that followed was more unsettling than any frantic alarm. The officers stood frozen, nerves frayed to the breaking point, each afraid to even breathe too sharply. What did it all mean? One whispered barely above a breath. Grant stayed silent. He didn't know, but Rex certainly did. The German shepherd stood statuesque, every muscle taut as though waiting for something invisible to all but him. The mother, trapped behind the security barrier, sobbed in shattered anguish. "Please, someone give me my baby." Her voice was raw with desperate sorrow. "I swear I put nothing in that stroller. Please believe me." Grant exchanged a troubled look with a fellow officer. There was too much raw fear, too much naked terror in her voice to be false. Yet the grim reality remained. A deadly threat had been found just inches from her child. Rex growled softly once more, not at her, but at the stroller itself. Grant stepped forward cautiously, careful to keep the bomb squad at ease. "Rex," he murmured, What are you picking up? The dog's gaze never left the stroller's padded seat. He inhaled deeply, once sharp, intense, then retreated, ears slanted flat. He began circling tightly, restless and alert. A soft whine escaped under his breath, sending a chill up Grant's spine. Rex never whimpered, unless the danger beneath the surface was far worse than it seemed. The baby let out a faint cry, bewildered by the cold air and the tension hanging in the air. That tiny sound shattered the silence like glass breaking. Several officers jerked as if snapped awake from a deep trance. "We have to secure the child," the bomb technician said, grave-faced. "There could be more inside that stroller." The mother screamed anew. "No, don't touch him. He's only an infant." Grant stepped up, palm raised in a soothing gesture. "Ma'am, just hear me out. We're not here to take him away. We're here to protect him. But we need your help." Her knees buckled, and she crumpled to the floor, tears spilling down. "I didn't do anything. I don't know what this is. I don't know how it got there. Please, please help him." Grant's chest tightened in empathy. He had seen guilty parents before, but she wasn't one of them. Still, Rex's behavior told a deeper story waiting to be uncovered. With sudden urgency, not aggression, Rex lunged toward the stroller again, pressing his paw firmly against a hidden seam in the baby cushion. He clawed sharply at a secret corner. Grant froze in place. "There's something more in there," he whispered. The officer stiffened. The bomb tech raised his shield. Grant leaned over the stroller, his hands trembling as he gently pulled the seam back just a fraction. Then Rex snarled louder and sharper than before, sounding a warning that rippled through the group. What they thought was all there was, only the beginning. Within moments, the bomb squad transformed the terminal into a fortress of safety. Yellow barriers snapped confidently into place. Security redirected terrified travelers, clearing a wide perimeter around the stroller and the still silent device lying beneath it. Two bomb specialists advanced, donned in full protective gear, their movements slow and deliberate. Every step measured, every breath carefully controlled. Grant stayed within the boundary alongside Rex, unwilling to leave the dog's side. The baby, now carefully lifted from the stroller by a paramedic, whimpered softly, but remained mostly calm. The mother's desperate cries echoed faintly from behind the barricade, where two officers tried soothing words. "Okay," the lead bomb technician said, kneeling beside the cylinder. "Let's see what we're really dealing with." His partner scanned the device with a handheld analyzer. The screen blinked repeatedly, then suddenly froze. The technician frowned. "That can't be right." Grant stepped closer. "What's the problem?" "It's showing chemical traces," the tech explained, "but there's no sign of explosives. The electrical readings are irregular, as if it's powering something inside, but not primed to detonate." "So it's not a bomb?" Grant asked, a flicker of hope warming his tone. "Not necessarily," the tech said, voice still taut with tension, "but it's definitely not safe." Suddenly, Rex let out a sharp bark that snapped every officer to attention again. "What is it, boy?" Grant murmured gently. Rex ignored the device completely. Instead, he nudged the stroller cushion once more, pressing his paw insistently against that same hidden seam. His nose zeroed in, his tail stiffened. A low whine escaped him, urgent. The lead technician looked up. "Is he flagging something else?" Grant nodded. "He's sure there's more." "Okay," the tech said, "let me check." The tech cautiously approached the stroller, using tongs to lift the cushion. "Everyone stay clear." As he peeled back the seam further, his breath caught in disbelief. "Well, I'll be damned." A slender strip of metal no larger than a finger was hidden inside a secret pocket stitched beneath the fabric. It bore no markings, no wiring, no visible mechanism, just a gleaming silver surface and a faint warmth, as though it had been active only moments before. "What is that?" an officer whispered. The bomb technician said nothing. He scanned the device with his analyzer, which suddenly beeped, wildly flashing red lights. From behind the barricade, the mother screamed in panic. "Why is this happening? What is that thing? Somebody please tell me what's going on." The technician's eyes widened. The reading matched the cylinder exactly. Same chemical signature, identical energy pulse. A cold shiver ran down Grant's spine. So whatever was inside the stroller, it wasn't just one part, there were multiple components. The technician swallowed hard. "Looks like it," he said. "Whatever this is, it was meant to travel as a single unit." Rex stepped firmly between Grant and the stroller, ever vigilant and protective. The technician grimaced. "This isn't explosive, it's something else entirely." But I don't have their equipment here to identify it." Grant's heartbeat thundered in his ears. If it wasn't a bomb, then what was being smuggled beneath a sleeping baby? And why had somebody gone to such lengths to conceal it? The bomb squad gathered closely around the stroller and the fallen cylinder, their gear gleaming under the harsh overhead lights. The terminal was unnervingly quiet, save for the distant sobbing of children and the crackling airport intercom calmly urging passengers to stay composed. Rex paced tensely, his nose close to the ground, as if detecting something deeply wrong in the air. Grant watched him with careful attention. Every warning Rex gave carried weight. Every movement had significance. "All right," the lead technician said, carefully lifting the slender metallic strip. "We're running a full spectrum scan." He slid the strip and the cylinder into a portable analysis chamber, a sleek, armored box with a slim digital display. As the door clicked shut, a soft hum reverberated. The screen flickered with static at first, then slowly formed a complex chemical chart. The technician squinted, leaning in. His partner mirrored the expression, blinking twice in disbelief. "That's impossible," he muttered. Grant stepped closer. "What did you find?" The technician stayed silent briefly. He turned the scanner toward his partner. "Run it again, I need to be sure." The second technician reset the device. Same humming sound, same flicker, more data, more readings, more baffling results. The technician exhaled deeply. "It's biological." Grant's chest tightened. "Biological, you mean organic matter?" "Yes," the technician confirmed. "But not dangerous, not infectious. It's engineered." Grant frowned. "Engineered for what?" The technician hesitated, face pale. "For transport." "Transport of what?" Grant pressed. The technician enlarged the data on the screen, pointing to sharp peaks on the chemical graph. "These signatures don't match anything we've ever seen. It's not a bomb, not poison, not radioactive. It's a containment capsule designed to keep something alive." A hush fell over the group. "Alive?" an officer repeated softly. Behind the barricade, the mother's sobs grew more desperate. "Please, please, someone tell me what's happening. I didn't put anything near my baby, I swear I didn't." Rex let out a single, sharp bark, urgent and commanding, directed at the analysis box. The technician's hands trembled. "Whatever was inside it," he whispered, "is no longer in the container." Grant's head spun with the revelation. "Removed." "No," the technician said quietly. Grant's eyes raced over the scene, dread tightening its grip. Passengers milling luggage, piled children clustering something alive, small enough to slip unseen. "Small enough to curl up beside a baby?" Rex growled, low pacing around the stroller, his nose tracing invisible lines. He paused at the deepest seam where shadows hid secrets. His bark broke the silence. "Is there more?" Grant whispered, breath tense. The bomb tech knelt, peeling back the padding with cautious hands. As the final layer lifted, time seemed to freeze. His voice faltered. "Oh God, fresh residue. That wasn't old. Whatever had been here had only just left." Grant's heart thundered in his chest. Something had been inside that stroller, something alive, something crafted, and now vanished. The threat wasn't a bomb in the terminal. It was something unknown lurking in plain sight. As the tech confirmed the fresh biological mark, every officer's gaze shifted, slow, reluctant, drawn toward the mother. She sat crumpled behind the barricade, arms hugging herself, trembling as if holding back a collapsing world. Her tear-streaked eyes were swollen, mascara etched sorrow deep into her cheeks. There was no criminal here, only a woman gripped by terror watching her life unravel. Grant stepped forward while Rex lingered near the stroller, nose low, tracking a whisper no one else could hear. Two officers approached gently. "Ma'am," one said with care, "we need you to come with us to a private room." Her head whipped up. No, please, I did nothing wrong. You're treating me like a criminal. I swear I don't know what that thing is. Grant's voice softened low and steady just for her ears. We're not blaming you. We're here to keep your child and everyone else safe. At the word child, she crumbled. She buried her face, sobbing freely. I would never hurt him. Never. I never left the stroller. I just came in from the parking garage. That's it? Grant paused, careful. Did anyone come near you? Did anyone touch the stroller even for a moment? She hesitated, eyes flicking as she retraced her steps inside her mind. No, I don't think so. I parked, took out the stroller set. Evan inside, locked the car, and walked straight in. Her voice faltered with raw truth. Grant exchanged a glance with his teammate. Her story wasn't rehearsed. It rang genuine, but facts weren't lining up. Something had been concealed beneath her sleeping baby. Something alive. Something engineered, now gone. Suddenly Rex barked again, eyes locked on the mother. The officer stiffened, and the woman jumped back, fear blooming. Why was Rex reacting like this? What was he picking up? Grant clenched his jaw. Rex doesn't see you as a threat, he reassured her. He's tracking a scent something on the stroller, or maybe on you. Horror swept across her face. But I'm clean. I haven't carried anything. I haven't touched anything. An officer stepped closer. We still need to ask you some questions in private. Please stand. Her legs wavered, grasping the officer's arm for support. She clutched at her chest, tremors racing through her. Please someone tell me what's going on. What was in my stroller? What was lying next to my baby? Grant didn't know how to answer. The truth was chilling. Whatever had been there was gone now. And someone, maybe even the mother, held the key to this terrifying mystery. Unknowingly, it had served as a vessel to carry it. The private screening room felt colder than the airport terminal. Its stark white walls magnified every breath, every heartbeat, every scrape of a chair against the tile floor. The frightened mother trembled in a cold metal chair, clutching a slim blanket given by an officer. Her gaze never wavered from the window that divided her from the hallway where paramedics worked on her baby. Grant stood nearby with Rex, watching as a paramedic carefully lifted the infant, examining his arms, legs, breathing, and heartbeat. The baby cooed softly, blissfully oblivious to the chaos swirling around him. But Rex was anything but calm. The German shepherd paced endlessly, his nose locked onto the scent near the infant. His tail-rigid ears flattened, his body coiled like a spring ready to snap, issuing low growls not of anger, but of urgent warning deep within his chest. Grant knelt beside him. What's going on, buddy? What are you sensing? But Rex ignored him, his attention razor-sharp fixed on the baby. The paramedic halted mid-exam, casting a nervous look at Grant. Is he detecting something again? Grant nodded, grave. Yes, and he's not mistaken. The mother froze behind the glass, pressing her hands against it. Why is he barking at my child? She sobbed. Please someone tell me what's wrong. Grant stepped forward, raising a hand softly. Ma'am, please listen. We're not accusing your baby of anything. Rex is picking up on something. A scent, a trace, a remnant. Something near your child that doesn't belong there. She shook her head fiercely. No. My baby is healthy. Nothing is wrong. But Rex's behavior told a different truth. Suddenly, the dog lunged forward, sniffing intensely at the baby's blanket. His nose traced its edges and then pressed against the infant's onesie right over his tiny chest. He let out a whine that Grant only heard when Rex discovered danger but wasn't permitted to act. Pull him back, an officer commanded. No, Grant replied firmly, raising his hand. He's providing critical intel. Let him do his job. The paramedic carefully laid the baby on a portable exam table. As the infant squirmed, the blanket slid away, and Rex immediately pressed his snout to the folds of fabric near the baby's ribs. Then he barked. One sharp, explosive bark that reverberated through every officer in the hallway. The mother screamed in panic. What is happening? What is he doing? Grant's heart hammered as he leaned in, examining the spot indicated by Rex. Beneath the baby's clothes, barely visible when the child moved, a faint shimmer caught his eye. Not skin, not fabric. Something clung to the infant. Get the ultraviolet scanner, Grant ordered. A technician hurried over with a portable UV light. He switched it on and swept it across the infant's chest. Silence fell. Thin streaks glowed brightly under the UV light, tracing microscopic trails, patterns, and residues over the baby's skin. The technician swallowed, voice tight. "This matches the biological signature from the container." Grant's face drained of color. Whatever had been engineered, whatever had been transported, had come into contact with the baby, and Rex had sensed it all along. The eerie glow from the UV light still lingered on the infant's skin as the bomb technician stepped back, trembling. "This residue," he whispered, "it didn't just brush past him, it was pressed onto him, deliberately transferred." Grant's stomach churned with dread as the mother collapsed into the chair inside the observation room, her sobs echoing uncontrollably. "Please, someone explain what they did to my baby. What did they put on him?" Her voice trembled, desperate for answers no one had. But Rex wasn't done yet. His nose dipped again toward the stroller, sniffing every inch the frame, the wheels, the joints, with unyielding focus. Then, without warning, he froze in place. A low, wary growl rumbled from his throat. Grant straightened, sensing that Rex had discovered something critical. The bomb technician hurried closer, eyes sharp. Where was Rex alerting? The dog pressed his snout firmly against the stroller's lower chassis, clawing insistently at a tiny screw beneath the frame. It appeared ordinary at first glance, blending in seamlessly, but Rex's fierce reaction told a different story. The technician knelt, fingers gloved, tracing the screw's edge. It didn't twist. It wouldn't come loose. It defied all expectations of a normal screw. He pulled out a magnetic key tool and gently tapped it. A faint click resonated, and a nearly invisible panel beneath the stroller snapped open. Grant felt a cold wave wash over him as the truth sank in. Inside lay a concealed compartment, razor-thin and impeccably crafted, hidden so well that even experts might have overlooked it. Nestled within was another metallic strip, nearly identical to the first, but this one was cracked cleanly down the center, as though something had violently broken free. The technician lifted it gently with tongs. "This is fresh," he murmured. "The break happened just minutes ago." Rex whimpered softly, circling his nose mere inches from the exposed compartment. Grant's breath caught in his throat. "So something was inside," he whispered. The technician nodded grimly. "And now it's gone." The paramedic holding the baby staggered back, shock written across her face. "Wait, you're saying something escaped?" Where Grant's mind raced to piece it together. The mother had parked in the garage, then walked inside the terminal, and all the while the stroller had been moving. Whatever had slipped out could have done so at any moment. "Seal every exit," Grant commanded. "Lock down all terminals. If something's loose here, we have to find it." Officers sprang into action, radios buzzing with urgent commands. Rex barked sharply toward the hallway, then again, louder, tugging fiercely at his leash. He'd caught a trail. Grant's heart pounded. The creature, whatever it was, had left the stroller, and Rex knew exactly where it had gone. Outside the screening room, frantic radio chatter filled the air, but all the noise faded as Grant stepped forward to face the mother. She lifted her swollen, tear-streaked eyes to him, hands trembling uncontrollably in her lap. Fear had shattered her, leaving her raw and broken. "Please," she whispered, nearly breathless. "Tell me what's happening. What did you find in my baby's stroller?" Grant sat across from her, steadying his voice. "We found hidden compartments. Something biological was stored inside." The mother's breath hitched sharply, clutching at her chest like she'd been stabbed. "Missing." "What do you mean, missing? Are you saying something was inside with him?" Her voice cracked into terror. "Was it dangerous? Did it touch him?" Grant swallowed hard, reluctant to confirm, but burdened with the truth. UV evidence had revealed plenty. "The baby was exposed," he said softly. "We're still running tests, but we need to understand how your stroller was used to transport it." She shook her head violently, panic spiraling into hysteria. "I didn't transport anything. I swear on my son's life I did nothing." Grant leaned forward, searching for her truth amid the chaos. "Then someone else manipulated you, and we need to find out who." Her eyes flickered wildly as she struggled to recall the events of her morning. I told you I parked the car, placed Evan in the stroller, and walked straight here." She wrenched at her hair, panic setting in. "I didn't stop anywhere. I didn't speak to a soul." Rex barked sharply from beyond the door as if urging her to remember more clearly. The mother flinched. "Why won't that dog stop barking? What does he sense that I don't?" Grant exhaled slowly. Rex only sounds an alarm when he's absolutely sure. "He's tracking a scent, something that was on the stroller, the baby. And maybe even you." Her face paled. McGrant's voice was steady. "Maybe you brushed past someone who planted it. Think hard. Did anyone come near you at all?" Even for a brief moment, she squeezed her eyes closed, forcing herself to replay every second. Garage elevator entrance security checkpoint. Suddenly, her eyes snapped open. The elevator, she breathed out. Grant leaned closer. "What happened there?" "It was packed," she whispered. "A man stepped in right behind me. Too close. Way too close. I tried pushing the stroller forward, but the doors shut." Her voice trembled. He leaned over for a moment. I thought he was just looking at Evan like people do, but her hands curled into tight fists. "Oh God!" He touched the stroller. Grant's pulse quickened. "Did you catch his face?" "No," she sobbed. "He kept his hood up, wore sunglasses, a beard. I didn't think anything of it then." Grant rose abruptly. "That's a solid lead." Rex barked again, louder, urgent. Outside officers shouted into their radios. "Suspect description, elevator footage, lock down every exit." Grant's eyes locked on the mother. "You're not the culprit," he said softly. "You were the carrier." Her expression crumbled, and she wept into her hands. "He used me! He used my baby!" Grant's jaw clenched tightly. Whoever that man was, he planted something alive in that stroller, and now it was loose here in the airport. Rex growled down the hallway. He had caught the trail, and the hunt was about to begin. Rex strained at his leash, pulling Grant fiercely down the corridor with relentless resolve. The bomb squad followed close behind, carrying high-tech scanning gear. Officers cleared the way as the K-9 surged forward. His nose glued to the floor tiles, tracing an invisible path with unshakable certainty. Grant's heart hammered. Whatever was in that stroller, Rex was zeroed in. They entered a quiet service passage, a hidden route passengers barely ever noticed. The scent grew stronger. Rex barked sharply, clawing at the joint where wall met floor. His nose quivered with intensity. "Scan here," Grant commanded. A technician swept ultraviolet light across the tiles. Everyone tensed. Glowing streaks appeared thin and scattered like faint footprints from something microscopic. They weren't shaped like humans, nor were they animal-shaped. They were irregular, chaotic, like something tiny had fled in pure panic. "This is serious," the tech whispered. Grant knelt beside the trail. So it didn't just escape, it ran. What ran, an officer demanded. The tech swallowed hard. The biosignatures from the cylinder and strip match highly engineered organisms. Think experimental lab-grown prototypes designed specifically to survive harsh transport conditions. Grant's jaw clenched tighter. So the baby was carrying what AA lab specimen, a valuable one, the tech confirmed. This was no accident. Someone deliberately planted it inside that stroller to smuggle it past airport security. Fury surged inside Grant's chest, using a helpless child as a shield that crossed every line of decency and morality. The tech's voice wavered slightly as he spoke. If our intel is right, the container wasn't holding some chemical weapon, it was holding a living organism, something small enough to go unnoticed, tough enough to endure, and controlled enough to remain dormant until unleashed. Grant's eyebrows lifted sharply. Unleashed. The tech nodded gravely. These containers usually carry gene samples, mutated insects, bioengineered micro-creatures, things trafficked in underground labs. They fetch millions on the black market biotech circuit. Millions. Grant felt his stomach twist with dread. Someone had gambled everything using a stroller, a mother, and a sleeping baby to sneak something illegal through airport security. Something alive. Now it was loose. Rex growled once more, deeper this time, trailing the eerie glow down the dim service corridor. The tech hurried after him, scanner in hand. The ultraviolet light revealed one last trail of glowing marks leading to a metal vent on the wall. The vent cover was slightly ajar. Grant's heart pounded fiercely. Whatever it was, it slipped inside. The tech checked the scanner again. The signal was strong. It's inside the ventilation system now. Grant exhaled sharply. A stolen organism worth millions, engineered living and now crawling unseen through the airport's veins. Rex snarled into the shadows ahead. The hunt was no longer confined to just one terminal. The entire airport had become their battleground. As Grant barely processed the creature's escape, the emergency lights flickered, suddenly casting eerie shadows. A crackle of static burst from every radio at once. Security to all units, multiple armed suspects spotted near Terminal Delta. The warning repeated. Grant's head snapped up. "They're here," he whispered. Rex growled sharply, instincts on high alert before anyone else sensed the danger. His ears pricked and body coiled, ready to strike. Another transmission cut in, shaky and panicked. "They're asking about a woman with a stroller. They know about the container, the mother, the baby." Grant's blood ran ice cold. These weren't ordinary criminals. They'd come to reclaim the creature they'd smuggled and silence any witnesses for good. "Move," Grant commanded, sprinting down the corridor with Rex at his heels. Officers swarmed the terminal, forming barricades, as terrified passengers screamed, ducking behind benches and kiosks. The polished floors trembled beneath the stampede alarms blaring overhead. Near Terminal Delta's entrance, 3 men, clad in dark, hooded jackets, cut through the fleeing crowd with ruthless calm, a predator's grace. Each bore a sleek black case over their shoulder. Grant recognized them instantly. "The man from the elevator. Hands where I can see them," an officer barked. The first man refused to comply. Instead, he smirked. Then chaos erupted. He reached inside his jacket. Officers drew weapons in an instant. Rex lunged out with a fierce bark that thundered through the terminal, scattering the men who moved with chilling precision. One leapt over a row of seats. Another shoved a passenger aside and dashed toward a maintenance hatch. The third charged straight toward the mother's screening room. Grant cursed beneath his breath. They were splitting up. Rex tore after the man, sprinting to the screening room, dragging Grant along with him as shouts echoed all around. Officers surged into formation, hot on the trail of the remaining suspects. Travelers clung to walls, their tears flowing freely. Grant barked into his radio, "Protect the mother and child at all costs!" But Rex was already charging ahead, unstoppable. The hooded figure bolted down the hallway, hand slipping inside his coat. Rex lunged, crashing into him mid-stride, sending the man into a cold steel railing. The black case skittered across the floor as the man crashed down hard. Grant slammed into him seconds later, twisting his arm behind his back. "Who sent you? What was in the stroller?" The man spat blood, a dark, chilling laugh escaping him, his tone icy and unhinged. "You have no clue what you've just unleashed." Grant froze, heart pounding. Rex growled low and threatening. The man leaned in, whispering with venom dripping from his words. "And if you don't find it soon, this entire airport will witness what it was made to do." Grant's breath caught the weight of the threat sinking deep as the villain's words echoed relentlessly. "This whole airport will soon see its true purpose," Rex snarled. Instincts warning danger still lurked unseen, but close. Before Grant could question more, static crackled sharply through his radio. "Unit 7, come in. The organism, whatever it is, was just spotted near the main ventilation hub. It's moving fast." Grant tightened his grasp on the prisoner. "Rex, move out." 2 officers secured the hooded man as Grant and Rex sprinted toward the central ventilation. The tension was electric. Every heartbeat pounding with adrenaline, they burst into the scene of chaos. Techs clustered around a large metal panel, alarms blaring mercilessly. Inside the vents, something small darted in and out of shadows at lightning speed, leaving behind eerie glowing trails under UV light. A voice rang out. "It's heading for the exhaust gate." Grant's eyes widened in dread. "If it escapes outside, it vanishes," the technician warned grimly. Rex growled sharply, launching into action towards the vent's opening. His nose traced the path with relentless precision, every muscle taut with purpose. Grant followed down a narrow service corridor, his heartbeat thunderous. They reached the large exterior exhaust panel half unscrewed, fresh tampering clear as day. Someone had planned this, waiting for the perfect moment. Grant aimed his flashlight inside the gap. A tiny creature no bigger than a mouse shimmered with faint iridescent scales, skittering toward freedom. Its movements were utterly unnatural, eerily mechanical. Just one more second, and it would slip into open air. "Rex!" Grant shouted. The German Shepherd dove, teeth seizing the edge of the creature's tail-like appendage, wielding just enough grip to halt its escape without causing harm. The organism thrashed violently, releasing a faint electrical pulse that made the vent spark dangerously. Grant grabbed Rex's harness, dragging both protector and prey back to safety. He slammed the vent closed just as officers arrived. "Containment unit now," a tech called. They encased the creature in a clear capsule built for hazardous biosamples. Inside it shimmered, curling into a dormant coil. Grant exhaled the deepest breath he'd ever taken. "We got it." Rex wagged his tail, drained but victorious. Moments later, the mother appeared at the corridor's entrance, flanked by officers. She clasped her infant, close tears carving clean lines down her face. "Is it over?" she whispered. Grant nodded gently. "It's over. You and your baby are safe now." She dissolved in tears, burying her face in her child's hair. Thank you. Her gaze shifted to Rex. The German Shepherd walked up slowly, tail lowered, calm and steady. The mother's trembling hand reached out softly, resting on his head. "You saved my boy," she murmured. "No, you saved all of us." Rex pressed closer into her reassuring touch. Hours slipped by, as the airport slowly came back to life, and officers carefully loaded the confined organism into a guarded transport vehicle. The lead scientist stepped toward Grant. "You have no idea what your dog stopped today," he said quietly, voice heavy with gravity. This could have sparked an unstoppable chain reaction. Rex didn't just protect the passengers, he may have shielded an entire city. Grant's gaze softened as he looked at Rex, his loyal companion, his true hero. "Yeah," he said, brushing a hand affectionately down the dog's neck. "He always knows." The mother pressed a small note into Grant's hand before she walked away. "Tell the dog he's my guardian angel." Rex let out a single proud bark, and at last the airport held a still, sacred silence.